My system is easy, right? It's something that I really believe that all of you can implement tomorrow. And it's a subgroup. All right, so let me back up for a second and tell you that my favorite saying in life is to begin with the end in mind. And I think if we apply that to kind of everything we do, we get to where we want to go. As you know or should know, I'm in the investment management business, and what that means is in order for me to be effective at what I do, I need to have assets to manage, right? Because without assets, I can be the most brilliant financial advisor in the world, but it doesn't really impact anyone. So I need assets to manage, and my world is all about quantifying results, quantifiable results. My world, my life, my business, my industry. So what I'm telling you right now has resulted in $117 million in assets under management, leading to approximately, in my world, about $1 million a year in annual gross revenue. So if that gets your attention, hopefully now you'll listen to what I'm about to say. Begin with the end in mind. What we've done, myself and a number of my really close friends, colleagues, and effectively partners, is we've created subgroups or specialty groups inside of and outside of ProVisors. So what you all can do tomorrow is look at your ProVisors group and decide who it is you really want to get to know even better, who you want to make an intentional plan with, and make a commitment with to meet on a regular basis with one another. I've done it with two different groups. The first one that David is very familiar with is something that we call the mastermind group, right? We didn't make up that term. It's a Dale Carnegie phrase. And this group really didn't even start with business development, with cross referrals in mind. It was meant to be what I call an informal board of directors. Well, we took about 8 professionals, all of whom are supportive of one another. We made an intentional commitment to one another to get together on a monthly basis, including an annual retreat. And every month we would assign the meeting to one of our members. It was their meeting to discuss their personal lives, their professional lives, what was going on around and inside of their worlds, and how we can help them. And then, of course, we always had time if anybody had an emergency need that they wanted to bring up and help us and have us help them with, we would do that. We set our meetings in advance at the beginning of the year. They were absolutely sacrosanct. They were on your calendar, and nothing could get in the way. And if you don't find people that are willing to make that kind of commitment to you, then start over, because the first thing is you're dealing with the wrong people, right? If you get the right people on the bus, on your bus, the people that are willing to commit to themselves and to each other, right, it can all work out. So this informal board of directors that really wasn't initially designed as a business development tool turned out to be something that was tremendously effective. About $50 million of my $120 million from these two groups came from this group because we all got to know each other so well. It's inevitable that if you get to know someone and you like someone and you begin to trust that person, right, the ProVisors mantra, you will then refer. So business flowed from that group even without that as the original intent. The second group that we created was the business development group. That was very intentional. It was very specific. And we do the same thing. We meet for breakfast once a month, 2 out of every 3 months, and dinner on the 3rd month of every 3 months. In many respects, it's kind of just like a high-priced dinner group, but there too, we've gotten to know each other really well. Many of us are clients of each other, and it's resulted in about $70 million in assets under management in flow into my practice. So it's a very simple thing to do. We all recognize that, in your ProVisors group of 25 or 30 or 35 members, some of those members might be better resources for you than others. I would identify those members, look perhaps outside of your ProVisors group, create a little subgroup, and make commitments to each other to meet on a highly regular basis. and good things will flow from that. We've asked people to leave our groups. We've disinvited those that aren't willing to make the commitment that we expect from them. So we've brought people in to replace them. You need critical mass. It's more about quality than it is about quantity, somewhere between 6 and 10. We need to hold each other accountable to make these groups effective and productive. And as I kind of alluded to earlier, usually each month, each time that we meet, one member of the group, typically the host for that dinner or for that breakfast meeting, is responsible for the content of the meeting. And whether it's to talk about something that's going on inside of their industry, giving us an update on what's happening in banking, what's happening in law, what's happening in finance, or what's happening in investments, et cetera, or particular issues related to their practice, there typically is a subject that, in fact, I got an email this morning about this long by the leader of our meeting scheduled for tonight, the CPA, who is in charge of tonight's meeting, with a whole series of provocative questions that we're all expected to address in the meeting. The subject matters were typically more about issues related to managing professional service practice, how we could help them as a board member, if you will. The business development group is much more specific as to how can we help each other generate more business. And here's what I'm working on, here's what I'm looking for, here's how you can help me and I can help you.